6:07 p.m. I'll call this meeting of the Common Council to order. If you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Go next, roll call for Treasurer Aldrich.
Carolyn Pearson, Richard Traeger,
Present.
Brian Garrison,
Present.
Dale Seward,
Here.
Mike Shockley.
Present. We'll move next to the reading of minutes and approval. First, the minutes is from November 5th, regular meeting. Are there any additions, subtractions, deletions, or amendments to be made to this set of minutes?
I move for approval of the November 5th, 6 p.m. council meeting.
Second. A motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move next to department head reports. Superintendent Lyons, would you like to provide a brief report?
I really don't have much. I was on vacation and we're obviously doing leaves. The machine broke down a couple times, so we're a little behind. However, it is back and we're hoping to have it all done by the end of the week. So that's really all I have, unless anybody's got any questions for me.
I had one. The handicapped parking spaces, you didn't do those, did you? Those are they up to code?
Are they up to code?
Yeah. Are they by state law what they should be?
It depends on what you want to look at state law. You got state code and then you got ADA. So
Well, the reason I ask, aren't the emblems and everything supposed to be blue by law?
I would defer that to the mayor. We looked at that and it's nothing's.
Depends on where you look. If you look in the Indiana Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices or the ACA, whatever it was, or ADA, they don't require it. Under the Indiana Code, however, it does state that they have to have blue lines on them, on the sides, with your width and everything else.
And the reason the lines were painted in such a fashion was to meet the state statute, so that if tickets were handed out, the judge was comfortable with giving citations. And the little emblem didn't get painted because it's an odd size symbol, so they didn't have that symbol. And then he also advised that if they paint over it, it doesn't adhere as well, and then it comes off and you end up seeing the white underneath. So they elected to paint blue on the sides, so it went on the asphalt and not on the thermoplastic.
And I didn't think the state statute said anything about an emblem on it.
No, not when we looked down those. So we did what was the minimal requirement for state statute, so that the judge, in the event he needed to, for citation purposes, that he felt comfortable with being able to give that citation or the ticket. So we hold up and.
Apparently the current judge though says that it does not comply, so he's not.
It didn't before, and that's why those lines got painted. I was asked to have them painted, so that's why we went through and had the blue marks added to them. Now that being said, I don't believe they're all finished. I think the weather got implemented before he got back. I know we finished the community center, and we did a lot of them uptown, but they're not all complete, so we'll have to do more. So if in the event they're not right, or if you want to do something different, let me know.
When we do striping for whatever project next year, when they're in. Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent. Superintendent Myers?
I don't have much more to add to my written report. We pumped 27 million gallons last month. IPC used 22.4 million. We had a couple water leaks. Seemed like we had a bunch of meetings. That's about it. Any other questions?
Any questions for the superintendent? Thank you, sir. Superintendent Van Sickle? Evening.
been at the Board of Works. American Pump Repair is installing a new sludge pump. They have poured a concrete base, and they need some adjustments on that. They were supposed to be back today, they'll be back tomorrow. So I have more report after that. Another meeting about the phosphorus building, nothing to really report on that. I did order 2 new all-weather samplers for raw sewage and final effluent. And it's not on your report, but I'm gonna have some liquid biosolids hauled. Started last Friday, just to keep our inventory down through the winter.
This is done through the Merrill Brothers.
Yes. And I'm having them take out 3 tankers Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we'll go for 3 or 4 weeks, see how things are.
Doesn't the ground have to be frozen?
Pardon me?
Does the ground not have to be frozen?
They have storage,
Oh, they do.
yeah, so they can, when they can't incorporate it into the ground, that they have enough storage. They have a couple different storage facilities.
Any questions for Superintendent Mansell? All right, thank you, sir. Chief Mullen?
Well, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, as I stated earlier, our records management system is being implemented at this time. We're starting the training for the system. It's an Ohio-based company called ID Networks, and we're having training for the next 2 days for our officers. There'll be 4-hour sessions at the Sheriff's Department, and the data migration has begun from the old data system into the new data system right now. We have an investment of about, well, since 2003, our current data system has been collecting information. That information should pass successfully into the new system. I'm waiting for that to happen, but just in case there are gaps or things that aren't transferred, I'm going to maintain a license with the old system at about $350 per year. 5th grade Delphi Elementary graduation will be next week, on December the 11th, the same day that we're starting to switch over to the new new RMS system. Matter of fact, last month we drove 5,427 miles, had 22 case reports, 11 citations, 2 written warnings, 11 crash reports, 1 parking ticket, and 1 handgun license. My news releases are attached. There's more information on those. The call for service record and arrests are also attached. Do you have any questions for me?
Questions for Chief? All right. Thank you, sir. I didn't type a very big mayor's report. We are closing out community crossings. It's 2017 we were awarded. Most of the projects were done here in 2018, so all we have to do is remit a check to the state of Indiana for roughly $2,500-$2,600. We came in under on our projects, especially the San Milroy overlay between Dodge Street and the railroad overpass. Came in under budget. We were a little over on Heritage, but all our projects combined, the crack ceiling, micro ceiling, alley, Heritage, and San Milroy, combined, we're in under budget. So that's why we have to remit that check back to them. Beyond that, I don't have too much more to report. Do you have any questions for me? Councilman Seward, would you like to provide an area plan commission report?
We touched on the CAFO situation that we have been exploring for the last several months. More research will be done on that. Also, I was appointed to the administrative committee to help search for a new director and take care of the internal parts of that also. It's a three-person committee, so we'll be meeting tomorrow night at 5:30. Will be our first meeting.
And that's, the purpose of tomorrow night's meeting is to find a replacement for?
To move forward in an attempt to find a replacement.
Okay. Do you have any questions for Councilman Seward? All right, thank you, sir. Councilman Shockley, I know we had our last community center meeting. Is there anything else you want to?
No, I think we closed out everything, come to an agreement on, what we was gonna rent the building for. It's supposed to rent for, the deposit is a $200 deposit. The rent, when I left the building was $125. Supposed to be $125 every time you rent it, and for a day, and $75 for 4 hours. But that got changed to $150 a day and $75 for 4 hours, which is the difference of what, $25. So anyway, we closed all that out, I believe. I don't know, I haven't talked to Leanne yet about closing out the account. Did we get it closed out? It's not been closed out yet. Okay, well, other than that, the construction crews and everybody are done with the building. Those of you who haven't been in it, I asked you to go in and see how it really looks. You know, it is a beautiful building, and it is very well put together. And I thank everybody for doing it, including city guys, all of our volunteers we had. You couldn't ask for better, as far as I'm concerned. Could not ask for better people to step up, and even people that lived in the county come in and helped us do this. So, thank you. I want to just say thanks to everybody.
Thank you, Councilman. Any questions for Councilman Shockley?
Mayor Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
can I just remind you, there's an open house for the community center on Thursday from 4 to 6.
For what?
For the community center.
It's not something the city has sponsored.
I was instructed to put an announcement in the paper, and I did, so.
You said this Thursday from 4 to 6?
Is it because of the ribbon cutting thing?
Yeah.
Apparently that's Brenda's activity, that's not ours.
It's not what the committee decided.
No,
Don't appreciate that at all.
no.
Is there a ribbon cutting before that, or is the ribbon cutting at the time?
Ribbon cutting.
Well, obviously, we've not been communicated with, so I don't know.
Thought the
I don't
committee had
either,
to
I've
actually do
never heard.
that.
You know, if you're on, I've never heard.
I'll reach out to Brenda tomorrow.
The city's losing control of this community center, I'll put that out there.
Anything else regarding the community center?
No.
So we'll move next to the proposed ordinance 2018-16, read by title alone, an ordinance for the additional appropriation. This is the first reading of the proposed ordinance. It requires 3 readings for its passage. For some supplemental information, we ended 2017 with $4,210,498.35 in the general fund. The total of this additional appropriation is $1,062,500.
62,000.
Yeah, $1,062,546.64. This is something, we talked about most of these when we were doing budgets, that we would expect to have to make this transfer at the end of the year. The majority of these lines are grants, and so we ran negative sometimes because it was over the course of multiple years. You couldn't appropriate every year. And so for these, most all of them are grants, the Floodgate Project, Interurban Trail, various aspects of Stellar, some program management, Gateway Phase 1, Gateway Phase 2, Streetscapes Phase 1, and Streetscapes Phase 2. Those are essentially transfers from the general fund to those funds for accounting purposes. The only one that in my eyes is a true additional appropriation is for utilities and streetlights, and that's for the conversion to LED lights, 91,000. So as this is an additional appropriation, we will have a public hearing on the additional appropriation ordinance. I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. It is 6:23 p.m. Do we have any public comment? You have that look in your eye. Yes, sir.
What was the totals on all these start with that the city paid for? Do you have a record? Like the floodgate project, 410,000, we're paying out now, how much more we paid for all this? What's the first balances?
I'm not following what you're asking.
Okay, this is additional appropriation because you're cleaning up to get these finished up. What was the total for like Gateway Phase 1? How much did the city actually pay?
You'd have to go back to the original thing, what we paid to begin with?
What we paid, the city's part of it, not the grant, just what did
You
it?
can look at the book and tell that. But your negative is what we've paid already. That's what we've paid.
Right.
The negative amount is what we've paid.
What was the total amount?
That is the total amount in the fund that's been
So this is the
expended.
total amount has been over the, so the rest of this was taken care of with the.
You've got grant money that's involved. It shows you right in the fund book.
Okay.
Stop into the office. The easiest way for you to do is open up one of those fund books.
Now, this same way on this street light thing, the 91,000, we expect to get that back in like 3 years, right? For savings and like.
We're supposed to have a savings of, I believe it was $2,600 a month. I believe they calculated it out to about 3.5 years.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. So we own the street lights, or they own the street light, who maintains them?
Duke maintains Duke street lights. So the only conversions that they did were on Duke's lights. I believe there was 210 or 220. So we pay a monthly maintenance fee for those, the maintenance and electric for those. So there's actually a website you can go to, street lights out. You can go on the map, click on it, report it out. Duke will have somebody out 3 to 5 days.
And how did that change when we put the new ones in compared to the old one? Did that amount lower too? What we pay for them?
The monthly fee, it hasn't changed yet, but we also haven't got a final invoice yet. But that monthly fee, I believe the maintenance and energy
Feedback is ready. Network feed.
is all tied in together. But we should see a savings of $2,600 a month on that.
And they're so much brighter and better. So far. Thank you.
Any other public comments regarding the additional appropriation? Close the public hearing, 6:25.
I have a question.
Yes.
If it's our turn. Now, not being accusatory, I'm just asking a question, which is probably through ignorance. How can these funds be run in the negative and still be in line with State Board of Accounts?
Because state boards realized this when we were operating on grants and stellar grants, there wasn't any way to know ahead of time what you were going to be determined to spend in a year's time. And there wasn't any way to know. You had too many grants going on at one time. With the stellar projects you were doing in approximately a 3-year amount of time, what your city would normally do in a 15 to 20-year time frame. So there wasn't any way to anticipate what you were going to do. So State Board said it is absolutely permissible. Same way that they allow your airport. Your airport operates on an FAA grant, and it is permissible to run that FAA grant with a negative balance because they know those FAA funds are going to constantly come in on a rotation, but you're going to spend it before it ever comes in on that rotation. They have no problem with it whatsoever. But with the stellar concept, you are going to run all these projects that you would have normally done, like I said, 15, 20 years, and the whole idea was to condense that and do it in a 3 to 4 year time frame at the most. There isn't any way to physically plan for that. There isn't any way to financially plan for that. So the process was to cram it all in, run it through, run it negative, and then pay up on the end. And when I say pay up on the end, the concept of that is you know that you had money in the bank to pay for it. You know that you did. So instead of transferring money ahead of time and putting it in and spending it out, you're carrying a negative balance, but you have money to cover it.
So it's not a matter of we had this pot of money and we spent it into the red and into the negative.
No,
It was a
no.
matter of the money hadn't been put into the pot
That's
from
exactly.
the
You,
grant
you knew all
source.
along though that you had the funds. That's a no-brainer. You
So-
had it or they would have never allowed you to go into it.
So it was a matter of the fact that it wasn't like if the grant was $2 million from the grant provider, that didn't come in all at once.
Oh, no.
So
No, no, no,
it
no,
comes
no.
in at different intervals, so that's why it's in the red.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. The other thing that I think makes it easier to understand, and they have taken the example of our grant books that we have downstairs, and Carolyn can tell you, they will tell you at an exit interview if you sit in on it. They have taken our grant books and used them of it as examples in other towns and cities, and have told their clerks, this is the easiest way to do it for you to keep track. Because our grant book shows you exactly what is receipted in, what comes in as revenue, but exactly what is spent out. So it shows every cent that comes in on that grant and then everything it ends up. So that balance is exactly to the dime what it ends up costing the city.
Okay. Now, you said 4 million and something in the general fund?
Correct, we ended 2017 with $4,210,498.35.
That's at the end of 2017?
Mm-hmm.
And that's budget surplus then, correct?
Correct.
And this million,
$1,062,000.
yeah, that comes off of that
Yeah.
4 million?
Correct. I'm ready unless there's any other discussion. Sorry.
I just move for approval of ordinance 2018-16, an ordinance for the additional appropriation.
Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. As this is an ordinance, it'll have to be passed in 3 readings. Is there a motion to suspend the rules of procedure to allow for passage on the same day as introduction?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go next to second reading of 2018-16, read by title only, an ordinance for an additional appropriation. Is there a motion to pass on second reading?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we'll move to third and final reading of proposed ordinance 2018-16, an ordinance for an additional appropriation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries on third and final reading. We'll move next to proposed resolution 2018-25, read by title alone, a resolution setting council schedule for 2019. I believe this falls in line with the ordinance that we have, that is to be held on the first Monday of each month, plus there's a holiday, and then it's going to be held on Tuesday. And so the only one that we have must be Labor Day on September 2nd, so we would have our meeting on September 3rd. Tentatively scheduled our budget workshops for Monday, August 12th, and Tuesday, August 13th. I think that's around the same time we did them this year. That allows, hopefully, this year, or next year, the county will have our net assessed value in by August 1st, like they're statutorily supposed to. But the state has a few revenue numbers that they're supposed to get in by August 1st as well. Is there any discussion regarding the meeting times for next year?
I move for approval of 2018-25 resolution.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you. This concludes the regular business for tonight. I provided the poll results. I got those back. I've got the results and the methodology, as well as the comments that were on them. So if you have any questions about the survey, I sent out 58. We got 19 returned. I know that's a small percentage of the population of the city of Delphi. It's a lot higher than the percentage that Ball State uses when they do their annual survey of the state of Indiana. They have 604 people that they survey out of a state of 6.491 million.
Shoot,
I know.
black dog.
So the gist of it, more people were opposed to golf carts than supportive. More people were supportive of limiting fireworks times than opposed. More people were supportive of requiring snow removal than opposed. More people were supportive of a four-way stop at the intersection of Main and Union than opposed. That one was a tricky one because I didn't know how to count. I believe there's at least one person that said, I don't drive that way, I'm neutral, different, I don't really care. So that was a hard one to support. I think it just depends on whether or not people drive through the area. But are there any questions regarding the survey?
I think that, particularly that one on stop, I think our street department knows more than the average person who doesn't drive it or does drive it. I think that should be a decision made not by a poll. I'm not saying it needs to be made now at all, I'm
Oh,
just
no,
saying.
and I'm not saying any of these have to be made in the future. I've had another person approach me about allowing golf carts on city streets. The city council had voted against it twice in, I believe, a 2-year period, actually. I kind of agree that it's dangerous. But I said maybe it's possible that public opinion differs from what we've been saying. From the limited responses that we got, it was more opposed. It was pretty heavily weighted towards opposed or strongly opposed than people supportive of it. Any other questions? All right. The other thing I have, we kind of talked about these a little bit last year, were legislative goals for 2019. I was expect to have a discussion tonight. But I'm hoping in 2019, at the January meeting, we can talk about some things we want to accomplish for the year. So if you would like to think about some stuff over your winter break when you're enjoying family and friends and don't want to be thinking about the city, if you have some time to relax and right before bed you want to think about some stuff we can accomplish next year, I'd love to talk about it next month. With that, got council comments and requests, starting with President Pro Tem Pearson. Councilman Traeger?
None.
Councilman Shotley?
None.
Councilman Seward?
I have nothing.
Councilman Garrison.
I'd just like to thank Aaron for taking care of that issue. I called you on the other day. Thank you.
Clerk Treasurer Aldridge?
I don't think so.
Public comment? Yes, ma'am.
I'm not I guess I think that we at the newspaper need some direction about who we're getting our information from about the community center. You know, apparently it's already been in the paper. Has it been in the paper? No. Oh, it hasn't been in the paper.
Coming up.
It's coming Wednesday. So should we pull that? Should we be checking with you, Mayor, when something comes walking through the front door, someone, you know? I think right now, since it hasn't been in the paper, what do you want us to do for Wednesday?
How long do I have tomorrow?
Till noon. Will that work for you?
Yeah.
But when, you know, it will be reported, city council didn't know anything about it.
Right.
And I don't,
I read it someplace. I knew that. What was it?
probably on the chamber newsletter,
Oh, was that what it was?
Mhm.
Okay.
which
I
is,
just, I read about it.
I
knew about it.
think I noticed it too and never thought,
Is
That-
it a senior family services open house or community center open house? I don't know if that's much of a
it
distinction.
was, it said it was a community center event. Shall we change?
Thursday night?
Thursday, along with the ribbon cutting.
I remember seeing the ribbon cutting on the county chamber.
I thought the chamber was having a meeting down there Thursday night.
No, no,
They
we
already
had
had
that
their
the
meeting.
other night.
Oh, that was last,
They already had it,
Yeah, that was Thursday.
and it was a function, not a meeting.
So I guess we just, and please talk to me. Let me know what you wanna have happen for this paper.
Right.
And then how you wanna handle that in the future, and that might be a discussion among everybody here, I don't know.
as I understood it from the last community center meeting, that we wanted to have a open house, and it was between March and May.
Yeah, March,
Yeah, March the
after,
second,
after the weather cleared.
and
So you.
from
could-
9 to 11, an open house, and ribbon cutting or dinner, whatever.
Dedication.
Yeah, it's gonna be catered day.
I think you said something about that at the last meeting,
Yeah,
at the
Yes.
last city
Yeah.
council meeting. I think I put it in the paper. I remember writing it down.
anyway, it was
Yeah.
open house from 9 to 11, and then the ribbon cutting at 11.
We just wanna
And-
make things
and,
clear for the
uh,
viewers.
Oh,
I imagine that was orchestrated between Brenda, Julia, and the Delphi Chamber. Normally the ribbon cuttings are. Now, I don't know any more than that it has been said that there's going to be a ribbon cutting, but I don't know.
I don't either, I'm gonna be
That.
honest with you. Just
But I know the
I
chambers,
just knew
both
that
chambers
those are
were
the dates
involved.
we set up for it.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the date we set up for it as a committee.
I don't know.
And I would think the committee would have control of it till we turn it over, but it sounds like maybe we
Yeah.
don't anymore.
Yeah,
The city should.
Well, I can see how they were having the ribbon cutting, so they thought, let's just have a little open house. So, I don't see it as a huge problem. We can promote it, she does, obviously.
Yeah, I do, because it belongs to the city. Yeah,
It's a lack of working together, though,
Yes,
that's my
that's-
problem with it.
I agree that that's,
And and that's been escalating over the last 2 or 3 months, if not longer.
so you'll just call me or something.
I'll
Yeah.
call you in the morning.
Yeah. 2:00 probably. That probably worked too, I don't know.
Do we have any other public comment? All right. There's one last motion. to be
Actually,
made.
motion to adjourn?
All those in favor? Opposed? It's 6:40 PM.
Yeah.
Brandon?
well, no, I think-